One of the medical documents that we're going to use in addition to the power of attorney is a standalone medical or HIPAA authorization. As a reminder, the purpose of this document, when I'm alive, nobody else in the entire world has basic access to me, to my information. Except for me, nobody can call my doctors. Nobody can call the hospital. Nobody can walk in and ask how I'm doing. And the problem that that's going to create is if I had an accident today, I would want to make sure that my parents and siblings and spouse and in-laws and my friends and my business partners all can find out how I'm doing without a big barrier coming up between them. So during our lifetime, we can create a standalone HIPAA authorization that will identify those people that we want to provide that basic access. In the course of our planning, we use a version of a HIPAA release that's going to name the specific people that we want to grant this access. Your document is very short and it's very simple. So when you read it, first and foremost, most of the language that's in this document is technical legal language. I will explain this to you as we go through so you do understand what the sections say. But for your purposes in the review, what you truly care about are section 1, which is going to provide all of the people that we want to provide this access. Number 1, this document does not provide any powers for a person to make decisions for us. That is the job of the power of attorney. The order of the names is irrelevant. As long as a name is on this document, we're going to be okay. But please make sure that all of the names are correct. My goal is that at all times we have full legal names for all people. And then as you may want to change this, whether adding or removing people, all you have to do is note that. You can track those changes on here, you can add a comment, or you can of course email us separately from this. The other section that you're going to review, just to confirm, is under your signature line will be your name, your birthday, and the last 4 numbers of your social security number. So on each of your sets of documents, wherever you see this, if you're a spouse, if you're married, for example, make sure each spouse's information is going to be accurate. Now, proceeding through this, just to explain what this document says, Section 2, a grant of authority. This is simply providing that under all of the federal codes regarding medical privacy laws, I am providing a release for providers to be able to give that protected information to the people that are listed in Section 1. Section 3, covered entity, is simply providing that any facility or individual, such as a doctor, that maintains HIPAA restricted information, this document applies to be able to release it. That covers everything from a dentist to a hospital. Section 4, termination. So in a HIPAA authorization, we're going to have the document run for our entire lifetime, and then we're actually going to have it continue for 1 year after we pass away. And the purpose of that is after I pass, there might be a need to continue accessing medical information for me. Examples could be if there's maybe a dispute about billing that happened from a hospital or another provider. Somewhat more importantly, maybe I passed away because I was in a car accident and there's a lawsuit that's going to be filed against the person driving the other car. And my family needs to be able to obtain the medical records in order to take those to trial. So we have essentially a 1-year tail that follows after we pass so that if records need to be pulled for any reason, we'll have that ability. Section 5, a term called redisclosure. So the basic idea here is that once records are disseminated to someone, once they're disclosed to someone, the HIPAA protections essentially end. Now that that person has the information, it's out there. The reason that this is important is because if my sister was to pull some information about me, because my sister is a nurse and she wanted to look at the records, if she then sent them to my other sister, who is a paramedic, we want to make sure that my first sister didn't violate any HIPAA laws by giving my information to my other sister. So this is just providing that once that information goes out, the HIPAA restrictions end and nobody needs to be worried about liability. Section 6, in terms of enforcing this document. It is entirely possible that any provider or facility may just outright try to refuse to give people access to information. This is just ensuring that they have a legal remedy to be able to respond to that. And then finally, in section 7, as with all the other documents, we're going to be providing you the original signed versions. Then we're also going to share with you a copy through that MyCase platform. So for these hospitals and providers and all of that, a copy is going to be just as legally effective as the original that we provide you as the client. And then at the end here, so section 8, this is just simply saying all of these HIPAA laws that exist, I'm waiving my rights under those in order to create this document. And finally, section 9, this is a term you'll see again in a couple documents. Severability is just a legal term that says if for any reason any section of this document is found to be invalid or unenforceable, then we're going to cut it out and the document, whatever remains, is going to continue being used. It's not something that's likely ever going to happen with these estate planning documents, but it's a contract term that we always provide by default. Your HIPAA authorization is fairly easy. It's fairly quick to get through, but make sure that the people are correct. Make sure that your data is correct. And if you happen to have any questions otherwise, obviously, please feel free to ask them.